Hi all, today we wanted to make a video about Palantir's earnings a couple of days, maybe weeks before the earnings themselves. So the earnings are expected at August 7 or August 8th. And for those of you who haven't been through some of the Palantir earnings, what's coming before the earnings themselves and how the markets react to the earnings announcement, we wanted to make this video for you because if you haven't seen it yet, brace yourself. There are some weird stuff that will be going on in the market. When we're talking about Palantir, we need to make a distinction between Palantir the company and Palantir the stock. It's very much Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde situation. So one is kind of a respectable company, very well managed with very good revenue growth and good profitability right now, amazing margins. The company is very accurate on its prediction, on its guidance, how it generates money and the cash flow. The other one is kind of behaving itself like a drunken teenager in Mexico on the spring break because take a look at the revenues graph. Does it look like a company which can drop 80% and then go up 400% in a span of how much? 2 years? A year and a half? No, of course not. So if you're holding Palantir shares, you need to be prepared for a couple of things. First of all, there will be no surprises. There are almost never any surprises with Palantir management. The way they are guiding, the way they're doing revisions to their guidance, they are pretty accurate. So for example, right now the revenue of Palantir is expected to be around $2.7 billion for this year. If you see the guidance of the company, first of all, they're constantly revisiting these numbers every quarter. Second of all, they're trying to be accurate to the tens millions. So you will see probably something like we are expecting revenues of $2.68 to $2.71 billion, something like that. The stock behavior is just out of this world. So to kind of see what's going on and see some patterns, let's take a look at the last 4 earning dates and how the stock behaved to the earnings announcement. Again, I will reiterate, there were no surprises. Let's start with August 7th, 2023, kind of a year ago. Leading to the earnings, the stock rose from $16.4 to about $20.3, so it went up almost 24%. Then it began a couple of days before the earnings, it began tumbling down. It began tumbling down on the day of the earnings, and kind of next day the stock dropped down from 20 to about 14. The next earning call was in November 2nd, 2023. The stock went from about $14 to $18 couple of days before the earnings, and then the earnings came and the stock went to 21. Again, we see the same weird trend. Couple of days before the earnings, the stock is beginning some kind of trend as if some people know what's going to happen, and then the earnings come and the stock is just kind of continuing the same trend. The next earnings call was on February 5th, 2024. A couple of days before the earnings, the stock went from 16 to about 17.8, so about 12%. Then earnings came, 17.8 to 25. The stock went through the roof, to the moon, all the stuff. By the way, please press the like button. It's just one click and it will help us immensely. And while you're at it, you can also subscribe to our channel and see our next video on Palantir's earnings. Actually, the only earning announcement which kind of breaks the whole pattern was the last one on May 6th, where the stock was rallying for a week and then the earnings came and then the stock went from 20 to 25 and then back to 20. So a couple of things which you should know about the stock. First of all, the company as you're holding it right now will be the same after the earnings. So right now the company is about between 27 to 29, I assume. I don't know when you're seeing this video, but the company which you are holding right now will be the same after the earnings. I don't think there will be any surprises. The stock of the company probably will be very, very different. So I won't be surprised if the stock of the company will be about $23 or about $35. And looking at the trend of Palantir right now, I would actually bet that the stock will be high. Second thing, take a look at the trend of the stock a couple of days before the earnings. Good chance the trend will continue about a couple of days after the earnings as well. If you have a target price, if you don't want to hold, for example, Palantir for many years, and you have a target price, for example, I don't know, $34, $35, you very well may hit this price a couple of days before the earnings or after the earnings, so it can be your good chance to sell. If on the contrary, you want to buy the stock and you have some low price in mind, again, this can be your great chance for buying the stock. Right now, let's talk about the financials of Palantir and what are we expecting from the company. After the financial, we will talk about some of the catalysts which we are expecting to see in the next couple of months, so the stock will actually go up, and I think it may get to $35 even this year. Okay, so let's talk about financial of Dr. Jekyll. So the last 4 quarters, the revenue of Palantir was incredibly stable. Starting Q2 23 until pretty much right now, the growth was about 20%, a bit more than 20% right now. I think, by the way, the stability of these earnings and the accuracy with which the company is predicting its next revenue is because the company are recognizing the contracts they are having gradually. Basically, if you have the contract for 5 years, let's say, you can recognize all the profit as soon as you sign up the contract, and then you have like a windfall of money, or you can gradually recognize a part of this profit every year for the next 5 years. So right now the expectation is that the company will report sales of around $652 million, and it would be kind of nice, and what the company is guiding for. The earnings are not really interesting, so the company was earning 8 cents on the share the previous quarter, and I think they're going to report pretty much the same thing right now. What will be actually interesting is a couple of metrics. First of all, the commercial clients. I've talked about this in a previous video. I'm really glad that the Palantir is having a huge growth of commercial customers as opposed to the government contracts. I think this is how this company will become huge and grow even faster. So I think we're going to see much more commercial clients this quarter. The second thing I would really like to see is the growth in the margins. So Palantir margins are again pretty okay right now. In the last video I've talked about the rule of 40. If you haven't seen, go take a look. Basically it's the operating margins and the growth of the sales together. We are expecting the rule of 40 to be around 53, 52 probably. One big thing on which, by the way, the stock will move. Again, no surprises for revenues, no surprises for earnings, but the stock will move a lot on the guidance of the company for the rest of the year. Currently, the guidance is between 268 to 71, I think, and it would be really nice if Alex Karp would go out and say 275 and the stock of the company would just go insane. By the way, Dan Ives, we've talked about him a lot on this channel, the same guy who makes the very optimistic predictions about Nvidia. Right now he's saying that Palantir will be at around $35. I think he's right. I think Palantir will get there. I'm not sure Palantir will stay there, by the way. So catalyst for the stock. I see 3 basic catalysts for the next kind of 2 months for Palantir stock, which will allow it to reach about $35. The first one is the deal with Oracle. So Palantir signed a deal with Oracle. The Palantir software AIP is now available on Oracle Cloud for its commercial customers, and this could be huge. Oracle Cloud has more than 100,000 different customers, and Palantir could very much benefit from this exposure. The second thing is the rate cuts. On this channel we haven't talked about Jerome Powell, rate cuts, Fed. We haven't made any kind of predictions for what is going to be with the rate cuts, but obviously they're going to influence the stock market as a whole and Palantir as a growth company a lot. So if we see a rate cut in September, for example, right now I think the market is expecting 2 rate cuts this year. If we'll see that, Palantir will skyrocket. And the third and last catalyst for the stock is the revision of guidance from Palantir management. As I said, only kind of $50 million more in sales from Palantir management. The statement that they are expecting to earn 15 million more by the end of the year can make the stock jump 10-15% just in one day. This is pretty much it. We will see you in the video just after the earnings. Of course, we will make the video right after the kind of the announcement and the financial results. Thank you very much for your time. Put a like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our earnings video. Take care.